Yeah, congratulations, JV. I mean, I think it's a really difficult year. We had a lot of people come out at the beginning of the year. We really didn't know what's going on. We had a break. Not everybody came back. So there was a lot of stuff going on with the JV, trying to keep everybody engaged. Is pretty difficult. But they had another great year. So let's kind of turn it into the foundation of our program. So I mean, another great. I just want to get another round of applause for the JV team. All right, so I'm going to start off with my thank yous. We had a great year this year. There's a lot of pieces to the puzzle, as you guys, you might see, here and there, like other different people just kind of show up and help out. And I think, we're gifted with the community that we have, that a lot of people do want to share, and help, and they want to contribute, and all of those things. So I first want to thank my assistant coaches. There's a lot of time where I just need to talk to someone, and for them to just forget everything I said, just let me say it. And so they help me, help me with that. Creating the relationships with the other players that maybe I can't, create. They really helped with that as well. So I want to thank my assistant coaches. Blair Moreau and Jeff Stark for doing the book. There's a lot of times where that goes unnoticed until Jeff doesn't do the possession arrow, right? Then it's very noticeable. It's a learning moment. Then we got a new possession arrow. But yeah, I do want to thank those guys. Those guys are a great help. They don't get paid until Coach Myers gives them gift certificates. So so that helps a lot. Phil, Jason Zamjan, and Carrie Rolowitz for helping us out. That was something that usually I'm running around during a JV game trying to figure out who can take, and that's something I did not have to do it all this year, so that helped me out a lot. And then it was getting uploaded to Huddle the next day, and that was a huge help. And then Team Mom, there's a lot of you guys. I fall on Janelle for a lot of things, taking care of loose ends. We weren't able to eat as much and do team bonding activities just because of the new restrictions, but we were still able to do some things and get pictures and all those types of things that I know I'm not good at. So that was a huge help as well. And the parents, I think you guys have been a huge help to creating this program where we got it, especially the senior parents who've kind of seen this whole thing kind of get developed. You guys put a lot of time into them, as you're in elementary ages and middle school, and still continue to create that positive peace society where you guys are just encouraging your children. So I think that has helped a ton. I thought we finally kind of turned it into the culture that we've been looking for, of just being trying to be as positive as possible. Even during the most adverse of times. So I really want to thank you guys. You guys keeping me on my toes as well. Jay Drama's text messages. That are, I didn't know he knew those many words, but they can get quite long. So keeping me on my toes and seeing a different perspective. That stuff has always helped. But so thank you for your continued support. Understanding the importance of team activities, not all the time. Are you gonna, you're gonna have your kid on the court the entire time. Understanding the importance of team activities and what they can offer to young student athletes, especially during such trying year. I'm hoping that through the season the girls are able to understand the importance of putting their own personal agenda aside to help the betterment of their team. So I also hope that they're now more equipped to overcome adversity. We created a slogan throughout the season, "Kiss the Wave." We thank adversity for showing up to our doorstep, and the lessons that you are teaching me, and so I can further better myself later throughout my life. And I think, that's the best thing about sport. And I think, all the life lessons that came through it, and, this season did have a lot of those. So, it was a lot of fun. So, with that said, move on. We had a season record of 17-1, 14-0, first in the conference, district champions, First time that we know that there was a back-to-back conference championship team here at Montague. First Division II district championship. First time going undefeated in conference play from what we know of as well. Held the top 10 Class B ranking for over 5 weeks, finished the year at number 7. Seniors were in a district championship game 3 out of the 4 years that they were in school, and they were able to post 5 postseason wins, throughout their time. The last 2 years we were 35-6, and those are just some data, some stats of this team. So yeah, give that. Sometimes, this is the best part, being able to kind of reflect on stuff like that, because we get into our day-to-days, and you guys probably heard it at home. The coach didn't think we did anything good. There's nice times where we get to, kind of reflect back and go, wow, we did that, guys. We always talk about, banners and legacies and stuff like that, and being able to come to, Montague High School, 30 years from now, 20 years from now, and be able to see, your numbers at the time that you were in there, is something special. So you can tell your kids about it, and just remembering the life lessons. You're not going to remember the shots, you're not going to remember the rebounds, but those life lessons in the team, the way that people, made you feel, those are all the things that are going to come back up when you see those numbers on there. So, it was a very, very special. With that said, I'm going to start talking about each individual athlete, kind of go down their stats, and celebrate them individually here a little bit. So, freshman, Kendall Osborne, you can stay seated, I will call you up again. She was a very tough player who plays on both ends of the court. Being the only freshman on the team, she had to face some adversity, going through some, growing pains, but also having to be around her sister all the time now. And so she's has to be her sister on the court, see her sister in the hallway, see her sister at home. That can be enough adversity for all of us to handle. So she did a great job doing that. Kendall averaged 6 points a game, shooting 52% from the field. She averaged about 3 rebounds and 2 steals and 2 assists a game. She kind of helped carry us in a few games, not just on the defensive end. I mean, in our second game of the year against Whitehall, she had 8 steals. It kind of kept us in that crazy game. But also she was, able to start stroking the ball towards the end a little bit against Spring Lake, helping us out there. When she's locked in, she is a difference maker. When she is locked in, she's a one-of-a-kind type of player. She's receiving her first letter, and when she decides that she doesn't want to be different from her friends, but combine her God-given abilities and her consistent work or hard work, she could take this program to another level. She could take this team to another level. And she is also the recipient of the most improved player voted on her peers, and that's Kendall Osborne. Moving on to the juniors. This is a first-year varsity player who showed a ton of growth throughout the basketball season. Because of the restrictions during the off-season, she was one that I felt that kind of got the short end of the stick because she wasn't able to see that varsity talent at tournaments and make connections with different parts of the game and do those type of things at the varsity level. Once she was able to consistently get in the gym, we saw a lot of improvement, in the motor to grow and get better. She's asking a lot of questions. And she was always, present, always at practice. She is definitely the author of the team, where I felt like I might have decreased her IQ a couple times, with my certain rants and my magic talking and spelling. I often had to ask her if I was reading something, like what that meant, and she would let us know. So it happens. I'm excited to see the work that she puts in the game. That'll evolve over the next few months during the off season, and she definitely has a high ceiling. So that's Maddie Meacham. Yeah, another first-year varsity player who showed growth throughout the practices during the basketball season. Kind of got short end of the stick due to the restrictions as well, but we did see improvement in her basketball IQ. She's asking a lot of different questions throughout. Extremely explosive player, athlete, and when she starts to understand the tempo of the game and how she can use her athleticism, I think she's definitely going to help the team next year. She's one of the kindest and most sincere people that I've, kind of been around. We went on to a trip, at the beginning of our second season, I guess you could say. We went hiking in Muskegon after we went and got Chick-fil-A after that opened up. And I still remember, seeing Brooke, Allie, and Hannah kind of get out of the car just crying, laughing. I'm not sure what it was about, nor did I ask. And it was just, at that time, we haven't even played a game yet. I kind of, thought, this is why sport is so important. Bringing, all of these different types of people kind of together that maybe weren't ever friends or anything along those lines before. And I also thought to myself, as a competitor, we might have a chance to win. Watching them kind of see them have fun and stuff. So that was one of those things, kind of takeaways that I saw from Brooks' stuff. So. All right, another first-year varsity player who was deemed our leader of morale. Okay, so if you know this person, she's always in good spirits until she's really sad and makes everybody else cry. And that's she's the leader of this thing. So at the beginning of the season, I think she seemed a little suspect to the intensity of the new team and coach. Kind of wide-eyed a little bit, like, is he allowed to say it that loud all the time? And so then, after about a quarter of the season, you could kind of see the light bulb go off, and she was truly just enjoying herself. Just being around her teammates in the locker room, being on the court, doing those types of things on the bus. She is, if she has her rap with her, she has some bars, they would say. She's on the back of the bus, writing down raps and doing those types of things. So she's actually pretty good too. Not gonna lie, she's pretty good at this stuff. So, but she definitely bought into the culture, but she also began to kind of change the culture and contribute to it, and it was just kind of really nice to see, because at the end of the day, I think a lot of people show up to games and they go, oh, maybe these girls don't play as much, and they don't have such an important role on the team, and that's just, and in really high-level teams, that's not the case. Everybody has a role. We always talked about if the piano player, doesn't have the piano that gets rolled out onto stage, who's going to play the piano? So that everybody has a role. If that's your job to bring the piano onto the stage, you better be the best one at it, or someone else is going to take the job. And we always talk about that in the means of roles. And she was something that really just bought in. But I mean, if something was ever stale, or if someone was having an off day, she was always one to kind of create an opportunity to have that conversation with that person. If I were to have a younger sister, I would want her to be, that caring, fun-loving, a joy to be around, Emma Dyer has shown, this past season. So, Emma Dyer. All right. Another first-year varsity player that started to hit the stride about halfway through the year. She was able to create a spark off the bench for us in some big games. Aside from the basketball piece, I'm really proud of this player. Just for being able to become socially aware and push herself out of her comfort zone to kind of grow. We talk a lot about in the program that failing is okay. Fail often. Let's try to grow from that. We try to create a healthy environment for that means. And that I feel when she first came into on the team, she didn't want to fail. She was scared, to mess up and scared to do this and that. And that she kind of really bought in as everybody's the best players are going, I screw up all the time. I miss shots all the time. I have a turnover. All this type of stuff. And as soon as she kind of saw that and realized that, she really began to grow. Not just again in the basketball sense, but just socially, emotionally. We often talk about the program. How hesitant it can be, to learn, from the older guards and kind of do those things. They're really good. But I really think that she kind of has her own tools that she's going to be able to use, from this past season, watching the older guards go. But also she has some qualities and some attributes that most girls in our conference don't have. And if she decides, that she really wants to, push herself, in this sport and to continue to grow her skills, she could really have a special, senior year. So that's Hannah Metcalf. varsity player. Claire was pushed more than ever to compete and grow this basketball season. We had a lot of discussions, you know, with captains and those things to try to see, you know, what really made Claire go. She averaged 5 points a game while shooting 47%. She also averaged 4 rebounds, 1.5 steals a game. She came off the bench and helped spark us in a lot of games. In 1 week, we had 3 games. It's the game that we played Ludington on that Friday night. She averaged 13 points and 6 rebounds. She had a great week. And then, yeah, like I said, in that Ludington game, we really counted on her for her defense and her offense the entire game. She didn't really come out. So that was a special game, kind of seeing what she can be made of. You know, when she puts her mind to something, she historically has found a lot of success. We had a lot of discussions that week, her and I. So, well, I call them discussions. I don't know what she might call them, but we got the result we're looking for. But if she really gets interested in the game of basketball, she could have a special season next year. She's extremely physical. She's gifted in the means of just athleticism, and now she's starting to figure out, you know, her go-to moves and how she can contribute to the game and in her own way. So that's Claire Meacham. Right before the beginning of the playoffs, we decided to kind of take a day off because it's been just like a crazy year. We didn't really have a whole lot of time to practice, and it's because there's 3 games a season. So we took a whole day off and we really did some mental toughness stuff, but we were really just trying to dive in and try to understand why we play and all of those things. So it was kind of aimed towards the seniors, you know, and the juniors, but this was a tape that we had made up, and I don't know if the parents have seen it, but you guys definitely helped put it with, you know, with all the pictures. You know, but there's a Mia Hamm quote at the end, you know, and it's just discussing like that little girl who fell in love with the game. Don't ever forget her, and don't let the expectation rob the joy of the game. And I think sometimes that'll happen, you know, especially with this team here. I think they thought too much. They were just over-analyzing all the time. And so I just thought, you know, like, let's get down to the basics. And those basics are just, don't let that expectation of we have to win, we have to do this, we have to do that, rob that joy of just that little girl that fell in love with the game. So we put this video on, you know, it's, you know, they might tear up, they might cry. That's the objective. But it was, you know, we passed it earlier. I don't know if, you know, the second time we'll pass it. But yeah, Coach, if you want to run that.
Once I was 7 years old, my mama told me, go make yourself some friends or you'll be lonely. Once I was 7 years old. It was a big, big world, but we thought we were bigger, pushing each other to the limits. We were learning quicker. By 11, smoking herb and drinking burning liquor. Never rich, so we were out to make that steady figure. Once I was 11 years old, my daddy told me, go get yourself a wife or you'll be lonely. Once I was 11 years old. I always had that dream like my daddy before me, so I started writing songs. Traveled around the world and we're still roaming. Soon we'll be 30 years old. I'm still learning about life. My woman brought children for me, so I can sing them all my songs and I can tell them stories. Most of my boys are with me, some are still out seeking glory, and some I had to leave behind. My brother, I'm still savvy. Soon I'll be 60 years old. My daddy got 61. Remember life and then your life becomes a better one. I made a man so happy when I wrote the little ones. I hope my children come and visit once or twice a month. Soon I'll be 60 years old. Will I think the world is cold, or will I have a lot of children who can hold me? Soon I'll be 60 years old. Soon I'll be 60 years old. Will I think the world is cold, or will I have a lot of children who can hold me? Soon I'll be 60 years old. Once I was 7 years old, Mama told me, go make yourself some friends or you'll be lonely. Once I was 7 years old. Once I was 7 years old.
All right, I think I got a couple. Yeah, no, maybe not. Oh no, not my dyer set the tone. You can put your sunglasses on. But yeah, so that was something that we put on. After a long day of talking about mental toughness and all of those things, and it got me. I mean, I don't know if the messages, gotten home, but I got emotional this year a couple different times. So I think that was one of them. Just kind of, these seniors have been, like my people in the hallways. So I think, looking at that, it's been, and looking at these things and the hours that they put in, and we always talked about towards the end, if we lose, we lose, but no one's going to take like what's in this locker room away from us for the rest of our life. So, and I really truly feel that. I think a lot of people are cliche about it, but there was a lot of love, from on this team. But I think a lot of it, came from the seniors and the amount of time that we had all spent together, the last 4 years, but also all the time that they spent together in the summer, going to AYBT tournaments and those type of things. So yeah, I'm going to move on to the seniors, and we're not going to get emotional. That's the plan. So, but yes. All right. So our first is an extremely coachable player. When she came up to varsity last season, she felt like she was like a little behind, and as she worked her tail off to get into that rotation. Throughout the summer, she did the same. Earned a starting position throughout the majority of the season. She averaged 4 points a game and 5 rebounds, which was second on the team. Not only did she grow on the court, but I saw strides off the court as well. She is a thinker. I like to think of myself as a deep thinker until she says that she has a meeting with MIT. And I go, okay, good for you. That's tough. I'm not that smart. So she was always, like the second or third level of some things that we were talking about. She's extremely assertive with her communication skills. We always saw that. But she started to act herself a little bit more and more. I saw her halfway dancing in the weight room one time. She's like tapping her foot or something. So like that was nice for her to start opening up. She was always using her sarcasm, responding to me with like my off-the-cuff comments. She was really good with her sarcastic comments kind of coming back. She was able to create questionnaires for breakfast orders. I thought that was like one of the coolest things I've ever been a part of. That there's a questionnaire, and I got to put in the amount of food that I wanted. I just had to go and pick it up. So for a couple of games, she and her dad made breakfast. To-go boxes and all those because of all the restrictions and the rules. And so that was a lot of fun to kind of just see that in action. We went over there in the summer to do the whole boating thing and the jet ski thing, the bonfire. Those are times that we'll reflect for the rest of our life on that time together. She was the one thing I'll really miss is that she always led by example. Her energy was always the same, and she was always just trying to be better. And that's something that our program wants to, kind of staple. Just want to hang our hat on that. So she's a special person that is going to accomplish a ton in life. She was recipient of the Most Improved Player last year, and she was also voted out by her peers as a recipient of the Most Improved Player again this year, and that's Janae Cucci. All right, now this is a 4-year varsity player. Emma accomplished a ton throughout her career. As I look back at her career, I see a growth in like ball handling and shot and all those things. I see growth in all those categories, but the one that I want to say that I've seen growth in the most, the one category the most is toughness. I think the last 4 years. She's gotten a lot tougher. And how we define toughness in our program is doing the next right thing. And so just no matter what's going on, adverse situations, turning around and doing the next right thing. And Emma was able to showcase this past season. She may not have had the offensive year that she wanted, but she was able to shut down or neutralize some of the area's best offensive players. She took pride in holding some of her best scores, in the conference to single digits. And made them earn every point if they weren't in single digits. Looking back at her career, I also see, character just got a lot stronger and stronger. Just those little things, being on time and looking you in the face and telling you, or just being honest and just having those tough conversations. She was, as a freshman to senior, it's night and day. And I think she's someone that she's always looking out for her teammates. She's, bringing them care packages. She's showing new players the ropes. She's, really began to exemplify leadership, and that's, again, why sport is so important. She averaged 5 points, and 3 assists a game this year. She was named All-Conference Honorable Mention last year, and she was named All-Conference Honorable Mention this year, and that's Emma Flynn. All right, here's a 3-year starter. Andy proved, most of the program what it looks like to work really hard and truly, just want to improve. After her 8th grade year, she was on the fence of maybe not coming out to play basketball. And we now look at her as like the model player in our program. Just not having a ton of basketball experience growing up before high school, and then after her sophomore year, just kind of watching it take off. Our sophomore season, she was moved up due to us having kind of low numbers, but that's when our love-hate relationship, kind of was formed there. We had a few tears at practice. We had a few fights with other teams. We had also a few arguments that stopped practice. But I always knew at the end of the day, during a big game, she was going to show up, and she was going to do the things that we needed to get done. And also looking back at her career, she had some really big scoring games. Sophomore year, she had 20 points against OV. Junior year, she had 22 against West Michigan Christian. And her senior year, she had 21 against Hart for the first time when we played up there at their place. She got really good at kind of scoring the ball, and finding spots on the court, and, she was one of those savvy players. And there's a lot of people in the community that actually said, like, hey, I'm going to bring my daughter so they can watch how physical your Zamajan is. I'm like, oh, Andy Zamajan, it's not that, okay, oh yeah. So that was, that was something, I look back on it, I'm just like, wow, like, you would have saw her sophomore year. I said, hey, you're going to play it forward. You're going to play a 3 a little bit. You're not just going to play a post. You're just too small. And then she just started crying. And I was, oh, okay. welcome to Andy's world. And as time went on, it was one of those things that we just learned to give space. So, but this year she averaged 10 points, 4 rebounds, and 2 steals a game. She was voted all conference honorable mention last year, but then this year she was voted first team all conference, and that's great growth and great for her. So, Andy Zamkin. All right, here's a 4-year starter. Raquel was the pillar of the program the past few years. At her time on the varsity team, she was able to help build the program by doing a lot of the small things. The one thing that I'll always cherish about Raquel is that she allowed me to coach the rest of the team through her. And that is something that we discussed a lot. Some people on the outside looking in might believe that because she's the one that doesn't come off the court a whole lot, she's the favorite, or she's this or she's that, and you just had to take one step into the gym during practice to see if she was getting coached. And I think that is one thing she never complained about. Were there times that there were tears? Yes. Were there times where I hate Cater? Yes. But at the end of the day, she really got it by her senior year. There's this it thing, and she got it. She understood what I was doing and what had to be done for the rest of the team. I think that's the biggest thing. She allowed me to coach her through other people. She's the point guard. The ball's going to get ran through her, but if I didn't like how Claire was rebounding, that was Raquel's fault. If I didn't like Andy's mood of the day, that was Raquel's fault. If I didn't like Kendall's body language during a drill, that was Raquel's fault. So there was a lot of times where I would mosey on over to the free throw and I said, I can't believe you're allowing that player to act like that. And she'd look at me and I'm like, that's your fault. And so this is, one of those things that, I will always cherish. She never complained about it. She just showed up the next day and worked her tail off. She was kind of the first one to join weight training classes, getting her teammates to do it. I believe she missed probably 3 basketball functions out of over 200 opportunities. And maybe the 3 is just the random ones and maybe that's not even a great stat either. Maybe there's not even 3. And she really wanted to perform, which drove her even harder. If we had an understanding of an assist record, I think she would be close to it, if not number 1. As I look back on her career, she had some really big moments. As a freshman, she hit a 3 with about, over a minute left in the Mason County Central game when they were pretty good. She had a 3 to seal it against Whitehall in pre-districts her freshman year. She had 7 points in 2 minutes against Whitehall at home. That was one of their 2 losses of that year. She had a 3 against Hart in triple OT. I think a lot of people remember that one. Just kind of how the game might have been not going her way or anything along those lines, but she showed up and kind of closed it out for us. She had a 3 in the corner against Hart. Her senior year up at their place to kind of seal it. Again, not a game that was going her way, but she was able to kind of step up to the plate and kind of bring us home. This year she averaged 11.2 points, 5 assists and 4 rebounds a game. She was voted all conference first team, all area second team, as well as most valuable player by her teammates. All of those things are really, really cool. They're going to look good at your open house. But the one thing that I'm really proud of Raquel is just, her growth off the court as well. And I think we can all be proud of that. And at the end of the day, we were just living in McQueen's world. So I'm glad that I was able to be a part of it. And that's Raquel. Allie brought a sense of fire to the program. The day that she stepped on the court. As a competitor myself, I absolutely love seeing Allie play hard. As a coach, it is one of the most enjoyable moments to watch one of your players work their tail off for their teammates in the program and also get rewarded. I mean, it's one thing to be working extremely hard. There's another thing to be, getting rewarded for it. I never had to worry about if Allie was going to play hard. Was it always going to be smart? We had a lot of those conversations with the follow level, but she was always going to play hard. Any given night, she could put up 15 points, 10 rebounds. What I love about Allie was a fire, but also the relationship we were able to create. Just in the means, she was allowed to challenge me. And I think that was the one thing that the rest of the team kind of saw too. If she didn't like something, Allie would say something. And I think sometimes people, they want to bottle that up and be like, no, that's not allowed. And I think, in the program and the culture that we were trying to build, we wanted to have that open, honest conversation at the right time and place. And I think that was something that I'll cherish for the rest of my life. It was a fire, but also a relationship where to create challenged me. If she didn't like something, allowed all of the girls in the program to see the fight that she had. That's what I believe. When she's coming off the court, and because I took her out, and Coach O'Connell does a lot of subbing, and she sits down and she goes, "O'Connell, why'd you take me out?" Something along those lines. I was on the other side of the bench going, "I took you out, buddy." And she goes, "Why'd you take me out?" I said, "Well, you're flopping on the ground embarrassing me. How about you just drink your water and be quiet?" And it's just, one of those things. And so I think it was one of those kind of give and take, going back and forth. And I saw it as fight. I saw it as, having this open, honest conversation. I never saw it as disrespect. I saw it as she wanted to play extremely well, and she wanted to help her team win in any means. And I think she's also one of those that allowed me to coach through her. There was one game where I didn't like how she was boxing out. I might have said her name probably off, a lot during that time. And then it happened again. I called it the quick timeout. I began to walk over to her and plead to her to box out, something along those lines. And she fired back at me. And then we were going to, and then once she fired back at me, I thought we were going to get into it for a second. And then, catch mark was right there. And I'm like, not the best time to do so. And so then I saw catch mark was, kind of pointing their cameras in our direction. And as well as we're starting to walk back, and I'm starting to look at the scoreboard, and she goes, "We're up by 25. What the hell do you want me to do? Foul out?" And I'm like, I'm just going to bite my tongue on this one. All right. The other time where she came out and she, asked O'Connell why, he took her out and I had to jump in there. So there's just moments like that I'll cherish forever. I think some people see it as disrespect or this or that, but I never saw it as that. I love that about her, and it's something that we'll laugh about, for years to come. So this year, Allie averaged 11.2 points per game. 8.9 rebounds. I've never had that. Within my 5 years here. So that was she had a double 3 times this year. 2.5 steals. Then she started blocking and started being able to time up shots in the paint as well. She was voted all conference last year. Voted again. She was number 4. She's in the top 5 there, an all conference player, and she's an all area honorable mention player. And she's also receiving the coaches award, voted for by the program coaches, and that's Allie Hall. All right, so we actually got through that with no tears, so that's actually I can be happy about that one. That's marked up as a win. But I think this is a special group. With all of the things that happened with COVID and being on, we had Zoom sessions every single day, and we didn't have one person missing. That's, to me, as I'm asking other coaches around the area, kind of what they're doing and this and that. Oh, we can't get them to show. We didn't have that problem. We were practicing our roars through Zoom. We were trying to figure out where the best roar You know, I mean, just times like that, there are so many memories. We went on a hike in Muskegon, and we allowed Claire to lead us. Claire thought she knew where she was going, found out she did not know where she was going, and you could see all the long-limbed girls try to go down a hill with shoes on. When I told them that we were going hiking, they should wear boots. They didn't. They wore shoes. Just watching them slip and fall and do all of those things. And, you know, a couple of them went into it real hesitant, like this is the worst team bonding thing that we're ever going to do. And we came out of it, you know, just smiling and laughing and watching. And some of them were very muddy, you know, because they couldn't keep their feet. But just stuff like that's stuff that we'll remember forever. We're getting back from games and sitting there and talking for 45 minutes and laughing about something that happened and this or that. Anything along those lines. I mean, that's what this profession's all about. I don't feel like, you know, it's a job. I don't feel like I get paid, you know, for this. Like, I can't believe they pay me for this type of thing. And I just think, you know, that turned into these girls didn't even know that, like, they were spending time away from other people. Like, they just wanted to go, be around their friends and play basketball. And it was just a very healthy, fun environment this year. I'm hoping that they can take a lot of the life lessons that we were able to kind of go through and experience together for the rest of their life. And, you know, we often talk about, you know, when they put on, you know, 15, 20 pounds and I see them at Montague Foods, that I'm going to be able to get them. I'm going to be able to razz them a little bit. So I can't wait for those times and their, you know, when they name their children after me. And so they don't think they're going to name him Cody, though. It's going to be Cater. I'm like, no, they can't. That's weird. So I can't. This is a really, really fun group. You know, thanks to the parents for allowing me to kind of do it my way. You know, and also just, you know, thanks to the girls for, I mean, they know how I feel, so I'm not going to get there. But you know, this was a lot of fun. So to kind of end out this program here, we're going to have the senior speeches. Sounds like a couple of them are doing them. I don't know how long they'll be, but I am looking forward to these wise words. I'm just hoping that you ran it through Maddie first, a couple of you, so she could edit and kind of give you some feedback. So, but yeah, so this is your stage.
I guess I'll start us off. We all five have speeches, so we might be here for a little bit, even though they're kind of short. Alright, so when Cater said that us seniors had the opportunity to speak today, I didn't really know what I was going to say because the postseason depression has already passed. And I didn't really want to get in my feels again, so I'm going to make this like as happy as I possibly can. I'm really proud of everything we've been able to accomplish, and I've been super lucky to get to know everybody on the team. Coming into this season, I was kind of scared because there's a lot of strong personalities, including mine. But I think that we found a way to bring out the best in everyone's personality and put it towards winning games. One thing I can say about this team is that there is something I could learn from every one of you. For instance, Emma Dyer, you were extremely caring and genuine. Brooke, you were selfless and always want the best for everyone. Hannah, you were hilarious, and I love watching funny TikToks with you. Maddie is extremely, extremely smart. Kendall is extremely talented. Claire is super competitive. Fun fact, she loves to plan trips, so one day she's planning us a trip to go to Hawaii. And then I can go on forever about all the seniors. From observing all of your guys' strengths, I've been able to reflect on myself and grow as a person. This is just one of the many things I've been able to take away from basketball. But to wrap this up, I just want to say thank you to Coach Cater and Coach O'Connell for everything, and Coach Myers for everything you guys have done for us. Obviously, we wouldn't be the team without you guys, and of course, thanks to all the parents who make this possible for all of us girls.
So I don't think it's fully sunk in that basketball is over. I just can't really think about that. I don't know. It doesn't feel real. Like, I don't get a next year or one more game and it's done, but like, I don't understand that really. All the practices and the late night bus rides and the team bonding experience are done, and it's like weird to think about. It's hard for me to realize because it's been a huge part of my life for so long, and now it just like won't be as there as it used to be. Basketball has always been something I could look forward to, and it's always comforting to know that it was there and I would play again. But there's a part of basketball that will always be there, because it's too important to allow myself to forget. I'll always remember and cherish the bonds that I've made with each of my teammates. We're a family, and family is always there for you, even if you don't see each other all the time. In a little bit, we're all going to be going our separate ways, but I know that the connections I've made while on this team will not be lost. That the people on this team are the people I'm going to reach out to grab lunch with together in a few years, just to catch up and reminisce on the good old times. Just like how we had to wake up early in the summer for basketball, and the trip we took to Petoskey, and all of Cater's countless life lessons, even when we didn't always want to hear them. The basketball program has taught me more than I ever could have imagined it could when I put on my first pair of basketball shoes. I didn't realize how much I could grow as a person and a player in such a short amount of time. But putting on those shoes was the best decision I've ever made. And thank you guys for everything.
I have to get it up here. 1 second. Feeling very sensitive, so if I cry. Okay. When I first started to write this speech, I began to think about all the lessons I have learned from playing the game of basketball. Of course, it started for me and many of our teammates when we played for my dad at a young age. He taught us the importance of learning fundamentals, the expectation of working hard, to always put the team first, and most importantly, to have fun. These lessons would carry myself and others through the challenges of elementary and middle school and would become the backbone of who we are today. As I reached high school, I knew that there would be more lessons to come, but I didn't realize how quickly that would happen. I will never forget Emma and I's first varsity practice when we were sitting in the locker room and awaiting for practice to start, and suddenly Alyssa Bogdan came in and yelled at us for waiting in the locker room. Oh, it was so scary. We were shocked and not even more nervous. Lesson learned, to be on the court, ready to go early. That's the expectation, and we are now considered leaders on the basketball court, and we soon realized we would be held to a higher standard. That is where Coach Cater comes in. Over my 4 years of playing varsity basketball, Coach Cater took those early expectations set by our peers and raised the bar. And when I say he raised the bar, I mean he raised the bar. He would not let us settle for anything less than excellence. Whether it was a summer skills workout, a trip to the weight room, or a pregame shoot around, he always pushed us to be our best self today, on and off the court, and for what I am forever grateful. He has led our program with passion and consistency. That is something we will all cherish forever. Coach Cater also taught us how to fight through adversity when times are tough, to never give up, and to fight for what we want and believe in. There were many times throughout my career that our team put ourselves in bad situations, yet because of the lessons we learned over our career, we never panicked. We knew that what we had to do, and we always knew our coach would have our back and encourage us to dig deep and overcome those situations. Those lessons are something that we can all apply to life and will play a big part in all of our future successes. And I would like to end with, to all of you girls who continue to play basketball and play for Coach Cater in my new high school, just want to be great every day and know that the foundation has been laid for you guys to be great. Carry on the standard that we have set for Montague basketball program and dedicate yourselves to the tradition. Each individual is like a piece of a puzzle. If you each give all, you can fit that puzzle. No, wait. If you give all, you can. If you give all you can, that puzzle will fit together perfectly and make your team, our program, a solid unit. Basketball is just a small piece of life, but life is about lessons, and I am forever thankful for the lessons Coach Cater, my teammates, and basketball has taught me. Thank you.
Okay, mine's awesome. Sorry about that. Okay, 4 years ago when I stood up, well, I guess it was in the cafeteria, and that's what I thought it was. Stood up here as a freshman, I remember, wow, 3 more years, but I never really knew how fast I was going to fly by, but yet, here we are. I remember watching the past seniors speaking and thinking how I couldn't wait to be a senior and have the speech planned, and now that time has finally come, and I've actually been dreading this day. Because now that I'm up here speaking, and once I'm finished, it actually means that it's actually over, and I don't think I was ready for it to finally be over. But this chapter is closed. And I understand that's part of growing up, that certain chapters in life, that they close, whether they're good or bad. But I will never play in a Montague jersey on that court over there, or play with some of these girls that I've played with, almost my whole life, or be able to get pushed as hard as I did in practice by Raquel, and I can guarantee you I wouldn't be the player I am today without her, because she pushed me so hard. But I do get to carry with me all the people who I grew up with and got to love forever. I've learned and grown up so much, and Cater has been a huge part of my life these past 4 years. And I truly believe that if fate were different 4 or 5 years ago and he wasn't coaching, a lot of these players, if not all sitting in this room, wouldn't be the people we aren't today without him. Not the players, but the people. And I'm forever grateful that fate had led him in some very high maintenance, dramatic, and emotional high school girls' direction. I want to thank you for everything you've taught me on and off the court, because I will take it with me in life as new chapters are beginning. Cater, wherever life takes you next, and whoever you coach next, they are some very lucky players because you are a great coach, and they don't know it yet, but they're going to learn so much more than just a sport, but life. And you'll impact their lives so greatly like the ones that you've impacted in this room. One day, 15 years or so from now, I get to tell my future family about this season and the history we made. And I get to tell them everything I learned from you guys, and these coaches, and pass it down to my kids one day. And I think that's really special, to be able to get so much from a high school sport and being able to take something from it and have it forever. Lastly, to end this, I want to thank my teammates for an amazing season. We weren't sure we would have a season, we kept getting pushed back every single time we got our hopes up. But they worked hard, and not for anything selfish, but they worked hard for each other, and it was very evident in our games. And I will always have a love for every single one of you, just because the season is over and I graduate soon. I just want you guys to know that I will always be there for you, every single one of you. Whatever you need, please don't ever hesitate to call. No matter what it is or what you need, I will always be here and willing to talk or listen. Thank you.
Alright, so mine's definitely not as deep as Emma's, but I'm going to first start off by saying that I think one of the coolest things with Montague girls basketball is that everyone, including the coaches, the team, and the community, can see how us girls have shaped the program over the course of these last few years. I know since 8th grade year, us seniors have been coming to Cats at like 8:30 in the morning, which was so fun, and we thought that was early. But then to senior year, where we would also willingly love going to the 6:30 morning practices. And that was not all we had to do for the day. We had to go to school, where most of us had a lifting class, then to practice and film, then home to do homework and go to bed. If you think back at this year, we knew that if we wanted to win, we had to be committed completely. And I think that's something this team did that the program hadn't been able to do for a very long time. At the end of the year, we all had our own roles to contribute to this team. And during these last couple practices, you could feel everyone's want to be there. These girls are the only ones who understand what we went through and everything we had to sacrifice to be able to win back-to-back conference titles and be district champions. We have learned so many life lessons that will carry on with us for the rest of our lives. But I think the biggest lesson that I've learned is that you have to enjoy what you're doing, have fun with it, and then give it everything you got. To the underclassmen, whatever you do, don't take a second of the sport and all the lessons for granted.
All right. That was good stuff right there. No, I think you ask a lot of people throughout the community. You ask a lot of people, throughout the hallways. And these seniors were, in a special spot. And they'll be with me, wherever for the rest of my life. So, I'll miss the teachers coming to me, asking me to talk to them because they are such strong individuals. And you have a way with them. And I'm like, you just got to be brutally honest and just know that something's going to come back. And you're just going to have to talk it up. But they are definitely in a special spot in my heart. I think this year was, kind of led by those guys, throughout the entire time. So that's a wrap on the 2021 season. Just like I told those guys, it was one of those times like when I know a lot of kids these days don't go outside and just shoot hoops. But back in the day, we used to just shoot hoops, and your mom is telling you to come in and do the dishes, and you just wanted to take one more shot, and that's kind of how I felt with this team, is that I just didn't want to go in and do the dishes. I just wanted to continue to be out there with them. I remember just preaching to them, just one more day, like just give all of us just one more day together. And I'm glad that we got this night together. They kind of wrap it up. So I'm looking forward to seeing where these girls land on their feet in the world. Just like every pregame speech. I don't believe that our time together is ever going to end. The bonds that we've created, and even with the losses and the failures that we've endured in the season, we're going to have losses and failures in life. And we're always going to be able to be by one another's side if we need that. And just like it's always been, I'll always be here for you guys, 24/7, 365. It's been that way, since you guys entered high school, and it's going to continue to be that way. Whatever you guys need, I can help. And sometimes you will hear the things that you don't want to. That will continue. I'm looking forward to this next adventure for you guys. I'm looking forward to the juniors, the sophomores, the freshmen. How bad do you want it? You've seen them in action. Now it's your opportunity, to do a little bit more, to give a little bit more, and see where that takes you. And I'm looking forward to that. So next year's team, look out for announcements for the off-season events. And thanks again, parents. Thanks again, guys. It was a great year, and I'm glad that we could wrap it up this year rather than just kind of have it go away like last year. So this has been a lot of fun. Thank you. One more second. Hang on. Check.
We have Mrs. Flynn who wants to come up and kind of end the banquet. A little celebration for Coach. All right, well, I've had the privilege of being the big sister to Cody, kind of feeling like when he first got here, he didn't really understand the girls and the emotional side, and Justin was like, you gotta remember, girls are a whole different entity than boys. We've had the privilege of watching him grow to where he is today. He took our program and totally amazed us at the bonds that he made, had the girls, and all the fun things that they got to do. We've had the privilege of being with them and watching them grow as well. And then Coach Billy comes along, and he is like that even one that Cody will do the slamming of when he's mad, and then Billy comes the cleanup act and is like, what I think he meant is, and just kind of, they coached well together, and they really helped our kids to grow, and we're extremely proud. So all the parents for varsity got together. Cody, this is a thank you to you. Yep, you're opening it up now. Yes, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Yes.
No, yeah, you guys want to see what's in the box? All right, so that's really cool. That'll go in the office. Cool. But yeah, no, this has been a great year. You know, we finally, and one of the things that we talked about at the beginning of the year was finding this mitten and putting a mitten inside the trophy and wrapping it with a net. So it symbolizes so much. I was so proud. I got to wear the net around school the next day, and I still might randomly. And so, but thanks again, guys. Thanks again, parents. Like I said before, you guys really allowed me to do it the way that I wanted to do it, and I think that's what I'll take from this year for the rest of my life. Is you guys allowed me to coach, and not all of it was always so great, and we might not always agree, but we understood that as a community, as a program here, we did a pretty good job with these girls, and we'll see in 5 years where they're at. But thanks again.